Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are well and welcome to this juicy masterclass where I'm going to be sharing with you the imprinting that we receive in our relationships. So if you're watching live, let me know in the comments. If you're watching the replay, also let me know. It's lovely to hear when people watch and see, and also as I go along, if you have any questions or comments, then just pop them into the chat box and I will do my best to answer them. And if you are watching the replay and put a question in, know that I come and answer your questions later. So hello, I can see people see me now. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so let's get started then. So this is a hard topic for some people, well, for most people, and I understand it can be very triggering because no one likes to think that, well, that we have the energy of other people inside of us, inside our energy field, and especially if that comes to some of our ex-relationships. But the truth is that I have worked with hundreds of women now to cleanse and awaken their sacred womb space. And in this work, I have seen that many women, in fact, all the women that I've worked with, are holding on unconsciously to imprints, energetic imprints and energy from their previous partners. Now, when that energy is unprocessed, when it's toxic, when it's not of the highest love and divine order, which I'm going to be sharing with you in today's video, this is particularly damaging because it limits your potential to attract new relationships of a high quality. And it's very particularly damaging as well because it also limits your ability to create, because the sacred womb space is the place where you create from, not just babies, but your projects, your creativity, your business. And I'm going to be explaining this. And the thing is that so many women are disconnected from their sacred womb space. That often then, of course, we don't even realize that this is going on. We're not even connected to this space until you do the work. And I'm sure most of you have perhaps even wondered, about the effects of past relationships, especially if those relationships were toxic, or they ended badly, or perhaps they were narcissistic, or, things went down that weren't good. Maybe there was infidelity in your relationship. Perhaps you've always wondered about the effect of past relationships and the energy of it into your space. So that's what I'm going to be sharing today. Now, there's a couple of things I want to say. First of all, I am talking about men and women, but when it comes to non-binary relationships, there are always polarities. So when I'm getting to this topic, I am going to be talking about masculine and feminine as well. So even if you're in a homosexual relationship or something else, it still is relevant when we're in these polarities. And the other thing I want to say is I have the utmost respect for men when I'm talking about this topic. This is not about blaming and shaming men, because this problem is a human problem, and it has come about because both men and women have been disconnected from their sacred power center. We have had the tools taken away from us, the spiritual tools, the emotional tools, in order to process our trauma. The feminine has been disregarded. So the feminine has been lost, not just for women, but for men, in terms of how we connect to our intuition, how we express our emotions, and how we process. So this is certainly not a presentation about saying that men are wrong or, aren't they terrible? Not at all. This is about having the utmost respect for men and for women as well, and how this process has gone about. So this is what we're going to be talking about in this subject, in this seminar. If you feel that other people should be watching it, please share this video with them. This is a very important topic. It's something I've been seeing for a very long time, and I'm coming out to share it. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kelly Morgan. I am an activator of the divine feminine. I work within the sacred womb space. For me, this is the physical manifestation, the embodiment of the divine feminine. So when we talk about divine feminine, it can feel kind of airy and floaty and something outside of ourselves. But my work is about embodying that within, because this sacred center is your center of power. And we've all heard about this feminine power that is rising now. Women are awakening to their feminine power. There's so much talk about feminine energy and saying, hey, let's get away from the hustle of masculine energy and let's get into our feminine. And the way I share that work is through the physical embodiment, through the womb space, because this is the portal of life, the portal of creation, and where you meet your highest wisdom. Now, in ancient times, there was a time when women and wombs were honored as the portal of life, where men almost fell down on their knees in grace and honor in order to enter that sacred temple, because they knew that the Holy of Holies, the womb space, was a really great honor to enter into this space. So it's time to reclaim the space. It's time to get reconnected to it. It's time to clear all the distortion and the toxicity. And it's time to reclaim it for you as a center of your power, your presence and your wisdom in the world, and also as a center for you to engage in loving, divine relationships. When you are able to do this, when you are able to reclaim this space for you, it means that you're able to connect to this deep inner knowing of who you really are, how sacred you are, what a blessing you are to the world. And this is an inner knowing that you feel in your blood, in your bones, and this radiates out into your whole life, this deep inner peace, this deep security. And this energy is the catalyst to change everything, because it's like the foundation of you is grounded in the deep self-honor and love of who you really are and what you're here to do. You're able to receive abundance more because the womb is the void. It's the space to receive. When it's clogged up with toxicity, you can't receive as you're too busy processing this toxicity. And so this clearing of this space unleashes your power to receive divine masculine men, if that's your thing, abundance of wealth, abundance of ideas, abundance of clients. When this space is clear as well, you're able to connect to the highest vision for yourself, your highest desire. See, desire force is what makes the world go around, and we've been cut off from our desire force. It's seen as dirty, as low grade. It's been a bit demonized, and especially a woman's desire. But really, desire force is what makes the world go round. And when that comes from the divine self, from the great mother, this space where you bring spirit into matter, then you're able to really amplify and bring in your highest desires. So if that's the greatest mission for your life, is that a dream that you have that you would like to achieve, you're doing it through, when you do it through your womb space, you're doing it through the divine design. You are divinely designed as an image of the creator. You are a co-creator, and this is how you bring things into matter, because the womb space in the world is the only place in the world where spirit comes into matter. Ideas, the idea of something, the energy of something, the potential of something new gets transmuted in this magical space in order to be birthed. And obviously we can apply that to human babies, but also for all things to be birthed. So your business, your creative desires, creativity, books, projects, who knows what can be birthed through this space. So when it comes then to our relationships, I think it's everyone's desire to have a loving relationship. There's like this deep search that we have from within to almost meet with the other half, to be connected and in sacred union, in loving relationship with someone else. And it's our deep desire to be loved and honored and cherished for who we are, not needing to put on masks of perfection to meet certain criteria of how we look or how much we earn or what we do for a living or who our friends group is or what our social status is, but just to be loved for who we truly are. Now, when it comes to masculine and feminine polarities then, which are very much present when it comes to relationship, the masculine energy, or the man, are really called to be in support of the woman, in support of the feminine, through loyalty, protection, and providing in a very real sense, like providing that security, providing that safety. Because when he and the masculine is able to provide this safety to give and to hold her at a very physical level, he gets to experience for himself the feminine fully opening up and surrendering. And when the feminine feels that safety, that loyalty, that protection, she is able to open up the most sacred, tender, sweetest, divine part of herself. And so this is the feminine receiving, but also giving the masculine that presence into this beautiful divinity that she embodies. And so for this to happen, it has to be a masculine energy in a very healthy dynamic who is providing safety, who is giving that feminine, that woman, all the love and attention she needs so that she feels safe to surrender and open to him. Now, when it comes to a sexual level in heterosexual relationships, the woman is opening up her womb to receive the man's sexual organs inside of her. And that act actually activates a very deep creative potential. And the most fundamental expression of that potential is the conception of a child. But whether we're talking about actually conceiving or not, it's the conception of ideas, of the birth of something new, the birth of consciousness, the birth of a new idea, the birth of a new earth, the birth of a business. So, or the birth of a loving relationship, a deep union between two. Now, this divine interaction comes about when a woman knows that she is sacred, that she is a sacred and that she is honoring herself to such a high degree that she is really connected to herself, connected to her inherent sacredness, her inherent love. She is connected to this womb. She is feeling everything inside of her. When she is in this vibration, the masculine then enters her with a deep humility and a deep honoring and knowing that he is entering the Holy of Holies, the most sacred place on earth, the portal of life itself. And this is divine union, divine sexual love. The feminine is illuminated and activated by the masculine because he is penetrating the deepest mysteries and wounds of her in order to bring about awakening and healing. And this sounds beautiful, right? This divine union where the woman, the feminine, is able to feel safe enough to surrender and open up this divinity, and the masculine is providing in order to give that. This sounds beautiful. And I'm sure you're looking around your world and your relationships and thinking that this is a very far distance from what you've experienced or what you may even think is possible. And so what I find is a lot of women are settling. We're settling for and making do with what we think we can get because we think that this beauty, this beautiful union is not possible. And so we end up in distorted relationships where we are trying to make someone to love us, where we are hoping that we are worthy enough, or perhaps we're just desperate even to be loved, or even some sprinkling of love. Maybe it's not deep love, but any attention that we're getting. And when we are externally seeking to feel enough, to feel accepted, to feel lovable, to feel worthy enough of love, it's because we are not whole and complete within ourselves. It's like we feel that this piece is missing inside of us, and so we're going out searching to try and fill those up. And the biggest thing that we try and fill up with is a relationship with a man, and we think that we'll feel better when we are in a relationship. We're also very disconnected from our womb space. It might feel even strange to you to say, connect to your womb space. What does that mean? And when we are disconnected from this space and it is running these patterns that I'm going to be talking about, we settle for relationships and dynamics that are not of the highest order. And like I have said in the introduction to this video, because the feminine is a receiving energy, the womb space is the void. She is a receiving energy, and feminine by nature is about beingness and receiving. And because masculine energy is an action, an outward force energy, a force in motion, a projecting energy, just because of the beautiful dynamics of the energies, often when a man is wounded, when he hasn't cleansed and cleared his sacred vessel and processed his emotions, he is often consciously or unconsciously projecting his wounds into woman. And the archetype of a man trying to release his wounds and release his trauma and his unprocessed emotions is actually through trauma, sexual trauma, so rape or abuse, these sorts of things. We think it's a power struggle, but in fact it's about he has so much wounds and he doesn't know how to process it. And one of the key ways that we actually get stress release and feel better afterwards is through sexual union. And so often, even if he's really in love with his woman and he's like really loves her, but he hasn't cleansed and cleared his vessel, he's often by accident projecting into her everything that he hasn't processed or his unprocessed emotions. And that's why often after sex we feel better, we feel relaxed, because we've actually managed to offload a lot of tension. So oftentimes a woman can be containing inside of her the energy of the men that she slept with, and that can include their trauma, their unprocessed emotions, and their projections. And my experience has been that these imprints stay with you unless that you consciously take time to clear them. And unless you clear them, it can make you feel like everything is an uphill battle, like you have to struggle for relationship, for attention, and like everything's a lot of hard work. You may have difficulty in attracting high quality relationships, And that's because the energetics of your vortex is laden down with toxicity, which means that you attract unavailable people, emotionally unavailable people, commitment phobes, and you end up feeling very lonely. And this can be a kind of vicious circle, because the more lonely you feel, the more that you think, I'm just going to put up with anything so I don't have to feel this loneliness anymore. You can also get very stuck in head talk when it comes to making a major decision for your business and your life, because you don't know which way to take. And it's because you've got all of this unprocessed stuff inside of you that you're trying to process. So that's just from our relationships, but not to mention perhaps some of your previous relationships and connections. Maybe you don't really want their energy to stay inside of you. Perhaps they were unloving experiences, abusive relationships, which all get a bit laden down and stuck inside our womb. And as I said, most of us are not connected to our womb. So this is happening at a very unconscious level. So I want to just open up to see if there's any questions as we go along, and I will come and answer questions later as well. But I would love to know how you're feeling. What is this bringing up for you? How are you resonating with this? And I'm going to go on and share with you some wisdom that you can use in order to start clearing and working and reclaiming the space. So let's get into it then. So I'm going to share with you 3 things that you can do to work on this space. The first one is to cleanse your womb space and really reclaim it for you, and to reset the frequency as a receiver of only divine masculine energies. And so the way to do that is to start beginning to connect with your womb. Because as I've been saying, this is where you create from. This is where you attract relationships from. And this is where you receive energies that are either loving or unloving. I've spoken at length before in previous videos about the energy of this space. So if you want to see those, please just go along. So go along and have a look at those videos, because I go on at length. But essentially, this space is where you attract relationships from. And so if it is laden down with imprints, with perhaps you think about ex-partners quite a lot, or maybe you've had dreams about partners, or maybe you feel a bit yucky about previous relationships. Maybe they were kind of narcissistically abusive, or unloving, or perhaps you had a major heartbreak over a previous relationship and you feel like you can't kind of get over it, or you keep thinking about it. These are signs that you actually have the energy of these previous relationships inside of your womb. So the first thing is to start to really connect from it. And it's funny, it's almost like a safety mechanism that we disconnect from this space because we don't want to feel everything that's inside of there. So it's very normal for women to be very disconnected from their womb, because there's stuff in there that they don't know how to process, or don't want to see, because they don't know how to deal with it. So the first thing is to start to really connect with the space and start to clear this space out. Now, how I work is I work with very powerful light frequencies. And I had a client this week was like, holy moly, I can really feel this. How I work with cleansing and clearing the womb space is sharing a shamanic based journey using light frequency that you can very physically and viscerally feel to start cleansing and clearing the space. And this is the most important thing, to first connect with your womb and clear your space, because when you do that, you're going to clear out these past relationships and start reclaiming this powerful vortex, the seat of your feminine power for you and your desires and your projects and the relationships that you want to attract. The second part is to start having boundaries. Start really valuing yourself and start really working on your self-worth and your self-love. Now, this isn't necessarily easy because you can install mental boundaries, you can have conversations with people, you can tell people what you want and you don't want. But I have found, unless you're working on the energetics of this space, you're saying one thing, your mind, but your womb is saying another. And so, particularly if you've been in negative relationships, toxic relationships, and you keep finding yourself going back again and again, or saying yes to things that you know are not loving towards you, or know that aren't honoring, is because you have your womb frequency not set in a way where it's honoring the energetic boundaries. So I guess what I'm saying is you can work on the mental boundaries, but unless you work on the energetic boundaries, you're going to keep attracting relationships in. So work on your boundaries, work on your self-love, your self-honoring, and start to really work on your boundaries. And what I work on is your energetic boundaries, because then it's like you're starting to, if you have a temple, a physical temple, and the walls are strong, the pillars are strong, and like the temple doors say on it, only divine masculine energies are allowed in here, that is a very different vibration in your boundaries than, wishy-washy, oh, I'm not sure who I am, I'm not sure if I'm worthy, oh, I hope one day someone loves me energy. So it's an energetic boundary that really helps to claim this space for you. And then the third part is to start to believe and trust again. Now, if you have been heartbroken, if you've had broken dreams where you thought you would be with someone forever, or you thought they really loved you and in the end they broke up with you, or if you feel traumatized, if you've had abusive relationships, emotionally abusive, controlling relationships, then it can be very hard to believe again, to trust again, to believe, that love is possible for you, to believe that you can, attract in a high quality man, because you've had heartbreak. So it's very much easier when we're in this pattern to stay hidden and to hide and to say these silly things like, oh, there's no one good in the world and no one wants me and all of these things. So start to see how you can start to build your trust again and your belief again, little by little, and healing this heartbrokenness, healing this trauma that you've experienced, so that you're able to start to believe again, start to trust again, and start to go beyond your boundaries and the walls that you put up around your heart and your womb, so you can start to love again and start to receive love again. So they are the three key ways that you can start to overcome this dynamic. One is to start to connect with your womb and cleanse your womb. Secondly, working on your boundaries and start loving and honoring yourself. And thirdly, starting to believe and to trust again. They are the three key ways. And I wanted to share with you, if you are resonating with what I'm saying, if some of these things that I've talked about you absolutely want to work on, and you feel fired up with the awareness that I've shared with you, then I want to invite you into my next circle, which is called Awaken Your Womb. Oh, so someone's asked a very good question. If this supposed DNA stays with you forever, is it possible to change your DNA? Okay, so I've talked about energetic imprinting, and I did share an article that said about DNA that was stayed inside of you forever. Some people have said that yeah, okay, it's possible to clear energetic, but DNA. So I'm going to refer you to Dr. Bruce Lipton. He wrote a book called The Biology of Belief, and absolutely you can change your DNA when you look at that, because essentially your emotions and your awareness and we've got to understand that we are extremely powerful beings. We've been conditioned over a few thousand years to think that we're not very in control of our lives and that we don't have much say, but we are creators, and therefore this is my understanding and my belief is that we can absolutely change our DNA and change anything, in fact, change matter through our attention and our awareness and our love. So, oh, I think I flashed off. He shows how you can change your DNA, turn DNA on and off, and clear DNA through your intention and awareness. So, my belief and my knowing inside of myself and the work that I've done is that yes, you can. Just like you can clear different things. Sorry, I agree, we're far more powerful than we've been conditioned to believe. Yes, exactly. So you can absolutely clear this. And the thing is that you can, when women work with me, it's not me saying, magic, magic, there, it's cleared. You feel it on a very physical, visceral level, and you're able to see if you've been thinking about a man and suddenly he isn't there, if you've had density or pain in your womb space or in your heart space and it's not there. So it's not like woo woo magic. This is a physical thing that you are able to experience and know for yourself. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, and please keep the questions coming because I love answering your questions, and even if you're watching on the replay as well. So as I was saying, I wanted to invite those of you that were fired up about this to join my program, Awaken Your Womb. This is where we cleanse the womb space and restore it for yourself. It's an 8-week program, and it will probably be the most life-changing 8 weeks of your life. I've had hundreds of women do this program and they are amazed by what happens. You'll be able to clear out any toxic, distorted relationships that you've had, both past and present, where you've taken on their energy, taken on their emotions, and taken on their trauma. This is really important if you've been experiencing abusive relationships, relationships where you feel drained, relationships where you've had hot and cold men, or perhaps there's been no one and you felt lonely for a very long time. This space is where you magnetically call them in. And so by shifting this vibration, you're able to shift anything. I had one client, she would been single and alone for 6 years, and a week after doing this program she met someone and she's still with him now, quite a long time on. I think that must be 18 months. So the thing is that when we're not in a healthy relationship, or we can't seem to attract a relationship, we think that we're doing something wrong. But it's not that we're doing something wrong, it's that we are being something wrong, i.e. we are being unconsciously accepting toxicity and distorted, wounded masculine energies in, instead of resetting the frequency and saying, I'm only going to be, a receiver of divine masculine energies. So that's an important part of the course. And then the second part is about clearing out our wounded feminine. I've talked about distorted masculine today and how we attract that in, but that's why I said it's not about blaming men. Women are also very wounded. And so working in this course, we get to really, this is where you get to be in your divine feminine very really. This is so you get out of this neediness that the wounded feminine have. It's like the wounded feminine is so disconnected from herself and her own radiance and love and light within. She's trying to fill up externally, and the key energy she's trying to consume is masculine energy and the man. And it's like she can't feel good unless she has a man, or a man that's loving her. And so what this creates is a lot of distortion, a lot of manipulation of men and manipulation of our sexual energy, a lot of needing and wanting and does lack energy. And so clearing this up, you're able to restore the divine feminine within, which means that you're able to, you want a relationship because you desire to, like you're in that beautiful divine feminine, like I desire what I desire. It's from joy, not like neediness or lack. It's just pure joy. Like I would love to be in union or to be in a relationship, not like I have to, I need to, all of this pressure that the wounded feminine brings on. We also go into working on the boundaries. So boundaries, when they are not clear around the sacred womb space, you tend to either accept invasive energies in, meaning abusive energies, mental abuse, emotional abuse, blah, blah, blah. But also you tend to give your energy out. And this is really an insidious pattern, because most women are conditioned to believe that it's their job to be the givers. Actually, if you listen to all my presentation, I was talking about the men providing and giving, but actually we've been conditioned that it's the woman's job to give. And so it's really normal for women to be taking care of everyone else, putting everyone else's needs before her. And so changing the energetic frequency of your womb, so it is an honoring temple of self-love and self-honor, and a place of divine union and a place of creation, your business and your projects, you're able to energetically radiate out those principles of love and honor. And that is very irresistible to the high quality man, to the divine masculine man. It's irresistible because it's polarities attracting. It stops you from giving away all your energy to others and to everyone else, and you're able to start to rechannel this energy towards your desires, your business, your purpose, and your creative endeavors. On this course, we also work on this inner trust and this inner love, and working out the clarity that you need to steer your life forward, like really connecting to what your deep desires are, what your deep love is, and then able to really channel that in so you can go forward in your life and your decisions with 1000% confidence, stopping all of that self-doubt and that inner critic and that inner chatter that we have, so you're able to really know that you know what you desire, how you desire it. You become like a powerhouse. Like most women that have done this course find that the voice comes from within them. In fact, it comes from their womb all the way up to their throat chakra, the mouth of the goddess, and they start to really speak their desires into a very powerful way. And obviously words have power. The Egyptians knew this. They're speaking things into form. But instead of speaking, I don't know what I want, and I'm not good enough, and I don't, all of this, you're able to speak in what you desire very clearly and very firmly. We do so much more on this course as well. We go into a deep dive into really connecting with this goddess within, the part of you that shares with you profound wisdom, that shares with you what your deep desires are and how to go about guiding your life. So this 8-week course is live with me. The investment is £1,497. And I've got a really juicy bonus for those that sign up by next week. And that is to have access to my brand new program, which I'm developing, called Rise in Love. That program is worth £1,000 alone. So because it's brand new, I'm going to be gifting it to the first 10 people that join my Awaken Your Womb course. Rise in Love is about helping you go deeper into the unresolved issues and energetic blocks around love. So once you've cleansed and awakened your womb, this is the next step forward. It's not relationship advice. It's not dating advice. It's about energetically calling in the one, if you're single, or creating a deeper, loving union with the partner that you are with. So, and to make it extra juicy, because I'm so confident in my program, because so many women have benefited from it, I'm going to offer a money back guarantee. So if you do awaken your womb and you don't think it's good, then I will give you 100% refund back to you, because I just know that you're going to get full results from this. Like everyone that's experienced it, if you look at the information page, you're going to see all of the beautiful awakenings, the synchronicities, the results. I've had women buy a house in 6 months that they thought, you know, a house in the sun that they thought was on a 10-year plan. I've had women double their income within months. I've had women attracting the one when they were single for 6 months. I've had women deepen intimacy with their partnerships where they were afraid to open up and they couldn't fully open up to their partner, open up fully and get engaged. So I've had all sorts of beautiful results from when you awaken your womb. So I'll put the link below so you can take a look. And I just recommend that reach out to me and let's have a chat to see if it's a good fit or not. It's not a sales call. This is about seeing if this works for you and works for the program. So reach out to me and let me know if you have any questions before we sign off, because I know I've talked quite a lot. So I'm just going to open it up for any questions. And you can post your questions below, or if you prefer, you can just send me a DM, a private message. I know it takes a while to come through, so I am going to just hang around for a little bit to see if anyone has any questions. And I'm going to have a drink of water. Oh, thank you, Maya. Yes, Maya did this last year. And it was life-changing with boundaries and codependency. Yes, I remember you had this previous, because you've shared it in the testimonial, I can say it. You had a previous toxic relationship and he came back and it was a lot more loving. And if you go and read the information page, you'll see so much more like that. So I think I'm going to sign off now and I'll come and have a look. Thank you, Cassie. Yeah, it's interesting. So reach out to me if you want to have a chat about the program. As I said, if you join by next week, then you get access to Rise in Love, which is worth £1,000 alone, and you get the money back guarantee. So there's no way you can lose, really. I'm wishing you a beautiful Friday, which is the day of the goddess, Vendredi, the day of Venus. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone, and I will see you all. Well, I don't know when. If you're in my program, I'll see you then. If not, I'll see you in another live. Lots of love.